All right, we're back again. Happy Monday, everybody. Please give it a like on your way in. Appreciate you for being here. God bless the chat as well as the moderators. I see the moderators are in there. Thank you all. Appreciate you. I'm not really sure how to start this stream. I usually start with like a video clip or some memes or something. I mean, the mad lads out there have just been firing the meme cannons all over social media. It's been great. So, I mean, I guess maybe we could start with memes since I went there. We'll start with some memes because the DC rally happened over the weekend, and to no one's surprise, it was not what the media blew it up to be. They made it seem like, oh gosh, this might be a January 6th type thing again, and the Feds showed up. And I don't know why anybody's surprised that the Feds showed up since it was their rally after all. But yeah, they didn't even try to blend in with the crowd. And you know what else is so funny? There's always irony in everything that they do, right? First and foremost, these memes I'm about to show you are not diverse at all. I thought we were trying to include and have a more representative government that includes women, minorities, people that are trans. We just don't have that going on, really. What we have are a bunch of straight white men, if you will. So here we go. So we got some of these memes here. Whoops, press the wrong one. Screwing up already. Here we go. Look at this. You got some straight white men here, and this says only feds. This is great. Okay, let me make it actually full screen so y'all can see the entire thing. There we go. Okay, so only feds. That's a funny one. But look at this. Where is the diversity in this crowd here? Now, that's not the only one. I know people are calling out some of the more obvious things here. Let me close that one. Open up this one. This one here. Select all squares with Fed. This is great. This was pretty funny. Then you got this one here. Abercrombie and Snitch, Summer 2021, Fed Boys Edition. I'm thinking something like White Boy Summer, wrapping up. This is the end of White Boy Summer. You got this one. Now, this one is the most interesting because this really highlights what we're all looking at, what everybody can see. This really just shows you the obvious, okay? If you just zoom in here, they've all got these like what would be approved in their industry or their field type haircuts, right? Low cut. They've all got the black shades. They're all holding water bottles. They all have the same watch, essentially. They've all got on black socks. They've all got above the knee shorts. They're all dressed similarly. Does this look like MAGA to you? I'm thinking this doesn't look anything like MAGA. I'm just saying this looks like the Feds. This looks like the Feds undercover trying to blend in with the MAGA crowd that was there, because there was actually an event that was held for the political prisoners from January 6th. And the media says, of course, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for people to downplay the events of January 6th, calling them political prisoners. They are political prisoners. The majority of the people that are behind bars right now weren't violent. They were trespassing. And they haven't been charged with an insurrection either. So if it was an insurrection, why aren't those people being charged? I mean, there's so much there. And, I always tend to upset the people that follow QAnon still. But y'all got to wonder why, if, this was orchestrated on the internet and there's QAnon, why hasn't Congress tried to find Q and subpoena that man or woman or whoever to Congress? Because it was probably a Fed operation the entire time. I told you guys last week, I hope nobody went to this, because to me, it seemed like a honeypot trap. I don't think anybody got arrested. I don't think anything got out of hand and got chaotic. But you can see from this photograph right here, this was a federale operation like we all knew it would be. I personally thought that maybe there would be some kind of false flag attack, because the press right now and the attention that the headlines that Biden is drawing right now are not helpful for his reelection. It's not helpful for Democrats. It's not helpful for people who want power. You've got a lot of people challenging the power structure, calling out the establishment, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that they would find a way to, draw attention away or to set up the freedom and liberty movement. Because how hard would it be to get somebody dressed in MAGA gear and have them go be violent or go do some Hitler salutes or something to make that, to frame it? It's not hard to imagine them do that. I saw that they interviewed some like young QAnon shaman, somebody dressed up like the shaman guy. I don't even know what his name is, but he's locked up in solitary confinement. And they always try to find the craziest person to interview. So they interviewed that person dressed up like the shaman with the raccoon fur hat and everything, just making it look bad. I mean, this is so pathetic. They don't even try. So again, black socks, the shorts, the shirts, the watches, every single one of them's holding a water bottle. They all have the same black shades, designer shades, the same style haircut. It looks like the feds. So that's what's going on. That's what happened over the weekend at the DC rally. I don't know if anybody went. If any of you went, let me know how it was. I know that there was a legit event going on. I just figured if anybody showed up, they should probably be careful because it wouldn't be hard to just have some random person dress up in Trump supporter gear or in, American flag gear and make them seem crazy, try to paint them as an extremist, like how they paint everyone who doesn't toe the line as an extremist, me being one of them. So yeah, that's what happened over the weekend. Those are the memes, some of the memes, just a handful of them. There's plenty more out there. The memes were just crazy this weekend. You also had, for a third week in a row, college football stadiums chanting F Biden. It's pointless to play the videos anymore. Once you've heard it once, you've heard it 1,000 times. But it happened at University of Tennessee, I think Kentucky, Virginia Tech. It's a thing. Every Saturday now, college stadiums are chanting F Biden. Another thing over the weekend, I did go to an NFL game. My beloved Broncos did play the Jacksonville Jaguars. I went primarily because I'm still a fan. I love football, right? I love it. But I went more with a lens to observe what was going on. First of all, there was no requirement to show your papers. I know that the Buffalo Bills and like 3 other teams are requiring vaccines, and you have to show your paper to get into the game. Not the case in Florida, not the case in Jack. So I wanted to enjoy the fact that there's freedom still as it relates to that. So I went in to see what all has changed since because the last time I went to an NFL game, I wasn't political. I wasn't into politics. And at that time, I don't even think that the NFL was fully politicized. You had the Kaepernick kneeling thing back, when was that? Like 2016 or something. I went in like 2017. Anyway, I wanted to see what all has changed because I've only seen it on TV. So I go to this game. Nobody kneeled during the national anthem. So that was a change. There was no black national anthem. Everybody stood for the real national anthem, paid respect, paid homage to people that fought for our freedom, fought and died for our freedom. So that was good to see the patriotism in there. And this is Florida. So the majority of the crowd is patriots. There's still patriots to support the NFL. I think personally, the NFL has gone fully woke, not fully woke. They reject some of the wokenism, but I would like to see it come back. So anyway, I was there for, I guess you could say, for entertainment, but also journalistic purposes. So you could say, there, like I said, no kneeling, no black national anthem, just the regular national anthem, no vaccine passport requirements. Broncos win. It's a good Sunday. Now, this headline you're looking at here, President Joe Biden spends the weekend at his home in, I can't even pronounce it, Rehoboth Beach, whatever. It's in Delaware. So he's in Delaware riding his bike. He was not anywhere near the southern border. He hasn't addressed the fact that he droned 10 innocent civilians in Afghanistan. You got a little bit of audio to
until
this,
tomorrow at noon, meaning the president will
Let's,
likely be remaining in the first state until then. Still ahead on Iowa.
So you got a couple people out there cheering for him as he's bike riding, as all of this drama and chaos is swirling around him. He's taking a vacation. Do you guys remember when Trump, all he does is golf? All he does is golf. He never works, except he worked around the clock. Biden is going on vacations every other week. He won't even talk to the press. He will not address everything going on at the southern border. He will not address the fact that the national average for gas prices is up to like $3.19. We're way over $3 in Florida. I know a lot of people say, that's nothing. Come to my state. That's besides the point. We have inflation. We have high cost of living. You have so much crime happening. They're paying people not to shoot. Lori Lightfoot in Chicago is trying to sue gang members. Like, you've got so much chaos happening in America. You've got France withdrawing their diplomats or their embassy diplomats or whatever because they're upset with the United States. That may not be super important, but there's a lot going on right now. And this man's out here bike riding. And then you've got some really, really just, oh my gosh. I maybe it was the media, but there's another video of this with audio. It's just the raw video of him riding by on his bike, and you hear people cheering and clapping. So it could be the media cheering and clapping, like, look at Joe. But there were a handful of his supporters, I'm assuming, cheering and clapping. And of course, this was a strategic bike ride way out on the coast of Delaware. Nobody knew about it ahead of time, except for a handful of people, to make it seem like, yes, Joe Biden. There's no way he goes anywhere else for a planned event and not met with tremendous backlash. I'm talking probably hundreds of people showing up with signs, So I'm surprised that, anybody would show up to cheer as he bike rides. What is he doing this for? To try to appear more relatable? Is that what his handlers are having him do? Look, he can ride a bike. They did that when he ran for president. Look how relatable he is. He rides a bike. He puts one foot in front of the other. He likes ice cream and sugar, just like everyone else. Also, Kamala Harris, this is where she was over the weekend, doing the coin toss for her alma mater at the Howard Hampton football game. Wasn't she supposed to tackle the border crisis? Where is Kamala Harris? Where is Kamala? Besides at this football game, wearing a mask outdoors, fully vaccinated, wearing a mask outdoors, ignoring the border crisis. But hey, she's flipping coins at this football stadium. Her alma mater. You know what? Why doesn't she go do the coin toss at a Georgia game or a North Carolina? Go to one of the main college schools and see what kind of reaction she gets when she comes out. And then tell me that they're the most popular administration in U.S. history. Give me a break. Speaking of that, let's just get to this one right now. Let's talk about this Fox News fake poll right here. Fake poll from Fox News. New poll. Majorities favor mask and vaccine mandates as pandemic worries increase. Who do you know that favors this? Of course, there's a handful of people that are trying to do mental gymnastics to justify why this is normal. I know a few people that are like, we've always had vaccine mandates in the past. It's just a mask. I mean, it's kind of waned since the beginning of the pandemic, to be honest. But when we were at the peak of this last year with all the mask mandates before the vaccine ever came out, people were all gung-ho about mask mandates and trying to justify it. So to find that people still feel that way, and the fact that they're saying the majority of Americans favor this tyranny is a joke. Who did they poll? Did they poll you? They sure as hell didn't poll me. Extremely or very concerned about, here it is. Americans are extremely concerned or very concerned about inflation and gas prices, 82%. That seems legit. But then coronavirus pandemic, 74%, Afghanistan, 73%, unemployment, 72%. Now, apparently, 69% of Americans believe that face mask helps reduce the spread. 65% believe it's safe and effective. Okay, maybe that part is true. But mandates, this is the big one right here. 67%, according to this Fox News poll, 67% of teachers and students wearing masks, they favor the mandate of that. Workers wearing a mask, they favor that mandate. Teachers being vaccinated, they favor that mandate. All government workers, they favor that mandate. I want to know, did they poll the people who actually were subjected to these mandates? I'm guessing they probably didn't. They probably didn't do that. I just think these polls are extremely fake. Why is Fox News even running this? Like, hey, look, just so you know, they're trying to make it seem like the majority is the minority. So you, as you watch your TV or as you look at, you find this poll online, it's designed to make you think that your opinion is of the minority. Like, hey, most of your fellow Americans don't see this as tyranny. They don't see it as government overreach. They don't see it as loss of liberty and freedom. They see it as necessary to slow the spread and stop the pandemic. The only thing that seems halfway decent or halfway honest is, let's see, maybe not this poll. President Biden's job performance on coronavirus. 55% approve in August. So I guess it peaked at 64% in June, and now it's down to 55%. I don't trust that number either. Just like I don't trust them saying the majority of Americans have been at least once vaccinated. I don't buy it. I don't believe any of this. So that's why I'm calling it a fake poll, because who did they poll? Or did they just poll people that already, like, you know what I mean? Did they get a subset of the population that they know they would get these numbers from? It's really easy to manipulate these numbers. It's just really interesting that so-called conservative Fox News, which we know is not conservative, it's not. Conservative Fox News would put out this poll to craft the perception that the majority of Americans are okay with what's going on. This is why they are controlled opposition. Moving along, Beto O'Rourke, believing that Texas is on the wrong path, he is likely to challenge Greg Abbott for governor. This is new information. I mean, the man's run for Senate and failed. He ran for president and failed. So he's going to run for governor. And I don't know if he's going to fail or not. I honestly don't know. How many Californians have moved to Texas since then? I mean, you've obviously got this massive border crisis going on. Speaking of border crisis and what Beto O'Rourke thinks about the border, here's what Beto O'Rourke had to say like 2 years ago. Mind you, he's running for governor. He wants to run for governor. So here's his philosophy on border walls.
If you could, would you take the wall down now? Here.
Yes.
Like you have a wall.
Absolutely.
Knock it down.
I'd take the wall down.
And do you think the city, if there's a referendum here in this city, that would pass?
I do. Here's what we know. After the Secure Fence Act, we have built 600 miles of wall and fencing on a 2,000-mile border. What that has done is not in any demonstrable way made us safer. It's cost us tens of billions of dollars to build and to maintain, and it has pushed migrants and asylum seekers and refugees to the most inhospitable, the most hostile stretches of the U.S.-Mexico border, ensuring their suffering and death. More than 4,000 human beings, little kids, women, and children have died. They're not in cages, they're not locked up, they're not separated, they're dead over the last 10 years as we have walled off their opportunity to legally petition for asylum, to cross in urban centers like El Paso, to be with family, to work jobs, to do what any human being should have a right to be able to do, what we would do if faced with the same circumstances.
We've walled off their opportunity to seek a better life. So he's against the wall. So kind of ironic that he wants to run for governor and announcing it now, or, you know, putting out the feelers now. That's interesting. He's putting it out there now when we've got the receipt on what he thinks about the southern border. So what does that say? That means if he were to somehow prevail and defeat Greg Abbott in the his reelection bid, then Texas almost certainly would go blue. Certainly. I don't know if the Texas state legislature would be able to block, because he would just follow suit with what Biden's doing. Now you can just go around Congress, just rule by executive fiat. Just do, executive order. That's it. So he could probably have executive orders galore to make sure the Texas turns forever. That's what this is about. This is about turning the second largest state in the country blue. And not just for the sake of Democrats, it's for the sake of collapsing the United States of America. That is the end game. That is the goal. Some people like to call that a conspiracy theory, but it's far from a conspiracy theory. Here's from, if you happen to trust Mother Jones, nobody should. A migrant camp in Texas has Republicans warning of a new great replacement. So they call it a conspiracy theory. Republicans have seized on the crisis as an example of Biden's poor leadership. Could they seize on this crisis if he didn't suck at his job? Yeah, see, they leave that part out. The Biden administration is in complete disarray, and his handling of the border crisis is as badly as the evacuation from Afghanistan, Texas Governor Greg Abbott said in a Thursday statement. He was with Ted Cruz. Senator Ted Cruz, appearing with Hannity on Fox News the same day, claimed the crisis was because of lack of policies. If you're from Haiti, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have said, we have open borders. Come to Del Rio and they will let you in. And then they say in this article, the reality is not stopped Republican leaders from using this crisis to raise the specter of great replacement. This is what I was looking for in the article. The reality has not stopped Republican leaders from using the crisis to raise the specter of the great replacement. A racist conspiracy that say there's a deliberate scheme to replace white people with non-white people. So that's just a racist conspiracy theory that there's open borders and the flood of migrants and the dog whistles and just the outright invitation coming from leftist politicians like Beto O'Rourke calling for migrants to cross the border illegally, not legally. Just come on, we'll get you in, we'll make you legal. Even though you're breaking our laws the minute you cross the border, we're going to just circumvent all of that and make you legal and set you up as a welfare recipient. And yeah, we're going to blame it on Republicans and call it a racist conspiracy theory. There is no conspiracy to replace American citizens. There's no migration replacement. Oh, except that there is. Here it is on the UN website. Population division, replacement migration. Is this a solution to declining and aging populations? Why, yes, it is, according to the UN and George Soros. This is an entire, I don't know what this was, a press release they did, but you can download all this stuff. I was looking at some of it earlier. You can download and read how they go about doing it, how they justify it, how they basically look at replacement rate. Okay, what is the life expectancy rate? The mortality rate, right? Fertility rate. What is that? What's going on with how many people are being replaced in their own family? I believe life expectancy is down in the United States for the first time in a long time. And on this UN website, which you can pull up yourself, they have been talking about it for years. Remember when it was called a conspiracy theory by Alex Jones? They try to make it seem like, oh, it's about white people being replaced by the brown people from Latin America. That's not quite it. They're trying to replace everybody here. You notice the effort to get everybody to take this medical procedure and the promotion of junk food and degeneracy and just basically a life-destroying cycle that they're promoting, that gets promoted on all the commercials, everybody promotes it, big pharma, everything. That's going to destroy humanity as we know it. Anybody that would basically resist the global tyranny. That's what it's about. It's about bringing down developed nations, replacing them with low skilled labor. I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm saying it because it's true. They try to paint this rosy picture of we're going to bring in these migrants. They make us better. Diversity is our strength. I mean, the people they were bringing in or trying to bring in, the people they're inviting here, funding the caravans, those people, majority of them don't speak English. They don't have an education. They don't actually improve the United States of America. They just don't. And oh, by the way, they're competing with us for finite resources. The people that live here. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not a racist white supremacist trope. It's just what's true. It's just what's true. And you got to take care of your citizens first. You can't just import the third world here. Yes, their situations are bad in their countries, but we have issues here that we have unresolved. Go to some of your cities. Go to these left-wing cities. Go to California. Go to Skid Row. Go to New York City. Go to Chicago. Hell, go to Orlando. Last time I was in Orlando, I saw so many homeless people at the bus station. You've got a lot of problems here. You've got the country here declining. But again, that is their agenda. That's the point. That's the plan. Bring down America. Replace the people here with migrants that would be welfare recipients. And then you have a permanent residual compliant voting bloc, a serf class, a permanent bottom class. That is the goal. To get rid of people like you and me, people that want freedom, want liberty, want prosperity, and can see when the government has overstepped their boundaries. So they need to replace you. And they're saying it right here on the UN website. It's not just the United States. They have it listed out, focusing on 2 striking and critical population trends. This report, that's what this thing is that you can go and download. The report considers replacement migration for 8 low fertility countries: France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Now, it's interesting that they have Japan and Korea on there, because I don't think either of those countries are pro-immigration. You don't really see, migration as a human right pushed over there. You don't see it pushed in Japan. You don't see it pushed in Korea. You don't see it pushed in China. Certainly not China. They don't promote open borders and chain migration, but they they promoted everywhere else. France, Germany, the UK, Italy, the United States of America, and Russia. That's another interesting one. But that's why, they destabilized the Middle East and created these artificial refugee crises, and then bring them over to Europe, bring them into Italy, bring them into Greece, bring them into France, Spain. They're bringing them into Europe. And then the United States, bringing them from the southern border, bringing them from the Caribbean, except for Cuba. They don't want Cubans. But Haitians, they want to bring over people from Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua. Here's the thing. If these people came over, if you knew that the people crossing the southern border were going to find my channel, find channels like mine, get on the Liberty bus and be on our side, if you found those people wanted to do that, would they still want to import them? No, they wouldn't. That's what this is. It's an assault on our southern border. It's an assault on our sovereignty. It's an assault on America. It's to bring down this country, replace the current population of all races. Make no mistake about it. Where are these migrants going to go? Once these 15,000 Haitians, and I know they've been flying them back. I saw a news report. They're flying some of them home. But how many are getting in? How many? Okay. Where are they going to go? Low skilled, low education. They don't speak the language here. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to the inner city, and they'll be competing with Black and brown people in the inner city that the left claims they care about. We love them so much. They're the best. But you're going to import other people and give them resources, taxpayer funded resources, and just put them on a welfare setup. You're just going to set them up, just furnish their lifestyle. And like I said last week, it doesn't take much. You don't have to, it doesn't take a whole lot of money to just furnish someone's lifestyle, but it still comes out of taxpayer money as the cost of living goes up, the cost of lumber, groceries, food shortages, coin shortages. Can't you guys see all this happening? Controlled demolition of the country. And they keep calling it a white supremacist trope. It's a conspiracy theory. It's not real, even though the United freaking Nations says it's real and it's happening. So who's funding the caravans? That's why I put George Soros in the thumbnail, because, I mean, he has been caught red-handed, essentially funding caravans, funding campaigns of judges, prosecutors. Remember not so long ago when Fox News, they took Newt Gingrich off air because Newt Gingrich called out and exposed the fact that George Soros is behind all of the civil unrest in American cities. Newt Gingrich said that on Fox News, and they interrupted him. And they said, we don't need to talk about that. We don't need to get into that. And then they cut him off. Why did they cut him off? Because he was telling the truth, because he was exposing who was behind it. Who's behind it? And it's still happening. Every week there are new stories about a criminal, a monster who should still be behind bars, but they were out on parole, they were out on bail, they got a light sentence and got right back on the street, didn't learn their lesson, obviously, went out and reoffended. They might have been some violent, like carjacker or something, or had a history of like gun violence, shot somebody before, robbed someone at gunpoint. They go to prison for a little bit. Then they get out early for good behavior or whatever it is that they get out for. They get out and then they go and murder somebody. They go and commit a mass shooting. It happened in Minneapolis. It happened in St. Louis. It's happened in other areas of the country. George Soros is behind it, just like he's behind these caravans. And plenty of other people are behind these caravans, funding them. They love it. So that's what's going on with your southern border that you're not going to hear Ted Cruz talk about. You're not going to hear Greg Abbott talk about. They're not going to talk about the fact that it is UN-sponsored replacement migration. It's part of a broader agenda to destroy the United States. Bring it under a one world system. Remember the New World Order? They called that a conspiracy theory until like 5 minutes ago when Lori Lightfoot said it, that health person or whoever she is in Australia said it. And this is decades after George Bush Sr. said it. They keep calling it a conspiracy theory, but now, hey, look, they're out in the open. They're emboldened. The veil has been lifted. All you got to do is look. Moving along. The hypocrisy. I know it's like it's pointless to call it out because they don't care, because they fear no consequences, but I'm still just gonna highlight it. Aloha. Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi caught maskless leaving his birthday party of 23 closest friends with wine and artwork as the serfs are forced to stay at home. Yeah. So I think there's a stay-at-home order in Hawaii. And so this mayor out here with wine and artwork and no mask as he parties. You also had the mayor of San Francisco went out to a nightclub without a mask on. They don't care. But hey, as they don't care, this news circulates and normies are getting their red pill moment. I don't know why it took so long, but hey, better late than never. People are getting their red pill moment as they see, wait a minute. As you tell me, I got to take 15 booster shots. You keep pushing this pandemic. You guys are dragging it out, and you still aren't following your own orders. There are people who think that, government telling them what to do. Their mayors and their city councilmen and their leaders, their governors are responsible. So they just assume, yeah, they're probably following these stay-at-home orders too. But then you got stuff like this. Mayors getting caught, just maskless. They've traveled when they told you not to travel. They put their kids in school when they told your kids they couldn't go to school. They've been caught maskless. They've caught gathered in groups, doing everything they tell you not to do. So that's Honolulu's mayor, and you also got San Francisco's mayor. You've had the Washington, D.C. mayor. You had Lori Lightfoot get a haircut. You had Nancy Pelosi go and get her hair did. Man, I've lost track of it, but I'm sure somebody's compiling it all to go through and just keep a constant record, an ongoing record. So that way we can correct the history, because they control the history books. They control the history books. Like, yeah, they did say that we were in a pandemic way back in 2020, but here's record of all of the leaders that didn't follow their stay-at-home orders. Here are all the leaders that were caught without masks. They traveled, they gathered in groups, they ate out, they did all the things that they told everyone else not to do during this very dangerous time in American history. So I think it's important to highlight that. I know I'll be teaching my kids that. I'll be letting them know, hey, yep, we did have this situation go on, but here's what really happened. Here's what really happened. Here's the situation. Oh, yes, there was another situation of straight up hypocrisy, and the fact that people are just, and this is why you know that Fox News poll was fake. They think the majority of Americans believe that we should be masking and continuing these COVID restrictions, the health measures that have been in place. Yeah, well, only the help that was hired to, help out with the Emmys had to wear a face mask. Only hired help required to wear face masks at Emmys while celebrities hug and kiss each other. And of course, there's video of this. There's lots of still shots. They don't have to wear masks, but you do. If you're just part of the surf class, you're just part of the help. And of course, the people that have to work there, of course, they're probably fully vaccinated. They probably had to get all kind of swabs and tests before they could even work such a prestigious event like the Emmys or the Met Gala or Nancy Pelosi's stupid little dinner party or Obama's birthday party or the mayor of Hawaii's birthday party. Any of these little parties where elites gather, they have a surf class that serves them with masks on. That's your future if you don't stand up to this lunacy, this tyranny. You're going to tell me the majority of Americans are on board with this? Fox News? I don't think so. I'm not buying it. Here's a crazy one. Huge mistake. Teen requests flu shot, then told to come back for her second dose. She says, I never gave consent for the COVID-19 vaccine to be injected in my body. Wow. A girl from Scottsdale, Arizona alleged she was slipped a COVID-19 vaccine without her knowledge at a Walgreens in Fresno, California. Now, it's alleged. I don't know if there's a news story on this yet. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. But she posted this on her Instagram page. She said that, a few days ago, I went to Walgreens for a flu shot. I arrived a bit early and filled out the necessary paperwork, signing for the flu shot. As I was being given the shot, the nurse said nothing to me other than asking me which arm I would like it in. She gave me the shot, and as I was leaving, told me to come back for my second dose in 21 days. I stopped in my tracks and asked, am I going to need a second dose? She assured me that I would. Confused, I continued to walk out, and that's when I looked down at the card she gave me. It said COVID-19 vaccine. I quickly rushed to the counter. My boyfriend and his mom came with me. I was given the COVID-19 vaccine instead. They proceeded to say, sorry, we are super busy. Things like this happen sometimes. Oh, and kept repeating, we all make mistakes. Oh, guys, how bad is that? Wow. Said, I appreciate the fact that they at least apologized, but this is more than just a little mistake. So I'm thinking lawsuit. Can she sue? Can she sue? Obviously, probably not. If she can sue, can she afford to sue? Can you afford to go up against Walgreens? It's just a big pharma hub. Anyway, nurses can't just go around injecting people with the wrong shot. I never gave consent for the COVID-19 vaccine to be injected into my body. Regardless of one's position on this vaccine, I would hope that we can all agree that having something injected into your body should be your choice. Please share this story to help prevent this from happening to others. Bro, things like that don't just happen. Really? Does that just happen? Like, oops, we accidentally gave you the wrong medicine. The wrong thing. We gave you the wrong thing. And there's a big difference between the flu shot and the COVID vaccine. It's not like they're similar. It's not like there's an overlap. They're meant for different purposes. One is mRNA. So I'm thinking that Savannah, which is the girl's name, I'm thinking she's probably red pilled at this point. If she wasn't before, I'm just assuming, right, that she wasn't before, because I mean, most people that I know that are awake to what's going on, they're not even getting the flu shot. They're just not. Especially because, I mean, have we even heard about the flu lately? It seems almost as if we eradicated it somehow, some way. Interesting. But she did share a screenshot of her vaccine paperwork. She shared her paperwork, which says she signed up to receive the flu shot today. And then she told whoever interviewed her, the Gateway pundit, I personally did not feel comfortable with getting the vaccine due to the lack of research behind it and potential side effects that some people are experiencing. I'm not going to read that because, oh man, those algorithms are going to come for me. They probably already will. This is why I'm live streaming on my smaller channel, guys. This is exactly why. This is the reason. Because you're not allowed to say what's true. You're not even allowed to read news articles out loud. You're not allowed to have any opinion. Even if you're not opinionated on it, you're not allowed to read certain words out loud on this platform because you'll get sanctioned. They'll throw you in that wrong thinker gulag real fast if you do, which only, again, raises more suspicion when you can't even talk about this. So this teenage girl accidentally gets the COVID jab instead of the flu shot. And of course, this won't be a big deal. This won't make national news. Well, they're calling it an accident. Sorry, people make mistakes. Oops, here's a gift card. Come on back. Our bad. Now, what if something goes wrong from this? What if this is happening a lot more and people just aren't checking? People are just casually getting the shot and not knowing it. I mean, how much further are they going to go to enforce this? Because no matter how strict the mandates get, no matter how they can block travel, you're still going to have a large portion of people are like, well, I just won't fly. Well, I'll just order my groceries online. I'll just have this stuff. Okay, so then what comes next? All right, you can't renew your driver's license. People say, fine, I don't need to drive. I got a bike. They'll find a way to go. How long? It sounds crazy, but I'm just going to say it. How long before they start physically forcing you to get it, showing up to your house or implanting it, sneaking it in your meds somehow, sneaking in your food? That's how psychotic they seem. It seems like we're on this track. Look how crazy they are. They started out polite. They're losing their patience. Biden said he's going to get the Republican governors that stand in his way. He's going to get them out of the way. Just like a true dictator would say, anyone that blocks this, I'll get them out of the way. I'll use my power to get them out of the way. You know, they're calling for you to be completely discriminated against. They're saying, Don Lemon said it himself on CNN, you should not be allowed to eat. You shouldn't be allowed to shop. You shouldn't be allowed to go anywhere, do anything unless you get the medical procedure he wants you to get. So it's not that far-fetched to see like, oops, too many accidents. Oops, we had another accident there. We accidentally gave you the jab. Wink, wink. Well, since we accidentally gave you the first one, you want to come on back for your second one in 21 days? That's about the only thing that they could have said to her after that. Moving along. Sarah Palin is mocked, or she was mocked on Twitter for explaining why she did not get the jab. And they're mocking her, saying, oh, I bet she is horse dewormed. See, they're mad. They're big mad. If you don't fear this virus, if you do not worship at the altar of this big pharmaceutical product, They hate you for it. They wanted Joe Rogan to die so they could say, aha, see, that's why. The Branch Covidian cult is mad that people are saying, you know what? I have this immune system thing and it works pretty great. They're mad that people are examining their own lives and saying, I don't think it's right for me. I can only speak for myself, and that's all I'm going to do. I almost never get sick. I take all kind of immunity boosting supplements that make me feel good. I know my body. Nobody else on this entire planet knows me better than me. You would think that's common sense, but that makes people angry. They're like, no, experts say this. I say this. You shouldn't be allowed to shop or dine or go anywhere because you trust your immune system. So they're mad that people are talking about it. And it's because Sarah Palin is a public figure. No matter what you think of her politics, she is a public figure. And she is saying that she trusts her immune system. They're mad at her for the same reason they're mad at Nicki Minaj and Joe Rogan and anybody else with a platform like some of these NFL players, NBA players, rappers, songwriters, musicians, anybody that says that they're skeptical, well, they have to be destroyed. The Twitter mob has to go after them. Sarah Palin is probably a much easier target than Nicki Minaj because she's already been, labeled. She's a Republican, so off top they can easily just discredit her. But how do you go after Nicki Minaj? So that's interesting. Here's another one for you. Conservatives demand clown Trudeau is voted out after another picture of him in blackface emerges on the eve of Canada's national election. I feel like this is almost an old story because he was caught in brown face. It's not blackface, guys. It's brown face. You got to be accurate here. Here we go. This looks like brown face to me. Anyway, I've seen this photo, unless they're saying that this is another instance where he dressed up like this. This has surfaced again, but it seems like they talked about this before. One night before the Canadian federal election, a new photo has emerged of the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in blackface. This might be the one I saw earlier. Oh, here we go. Yeah, in 2019, similar pictures from the same event emerged online, but this is the first time this particular image has been released. So this is not a new story. It's just people trying to go after him for dressing like this. Here's my thing. I'm not a fan of cancel culture, but I do want to call out just the utter hypocrisy of this because no one's going to talk about this. Blackface, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan. No. But you've had Sarah Silverman, Joy Behar, you had Jimmy Kimmel. He dressed up like, I think, Karl Malone or something. You've had so many people dress up. You've had black people dressed in whiteface. There's a lot of weird stuff with that. People dress up for Halloween costumes. It's just a slippery slope to political correctness. So I'm not really a fan of like, he should resign. He should be voted out. He should resign in disgrace. But at the same time, he shouldn't be out there talking about other people. He no longer has moral high ground. He never really had moral high ground, but he doesn't have the moral high ground to call out racism and talk about other people and how morally inferior they are because he dressed like this. It's just like the governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam. He was caught in blackface. His reward will be him getting reelected. That's how it works. He's going to get reelected. There was a Republican actually in Florida. I believe this was maybe in 2018. It might have been 2019 because DeSantis was governor at the time. This guy, some Republican, I don't remember if he was a state, I think he was a state rep. Anyway, pictures surfaced of him dressing in blackface. He resigned over it. No one had to pressure him. The pictures surfaced, and as a result, he resigned. He got ahead of the media backlash and attack, but the media still did it. Republican dresses in blackface. Of course, everybody knows by now that Trudeau and some of these other leftists, people in the entertainment industry have dressed like this and done this for years. It's always been a thing that they do. So to ignore it or cherry pick and say, look at this Republican do it. If a Republican were in Trudeau's spot and did this and didn't resign, what would the backlash be? So Trudeau, Ralph Northam, they get away with it. They might even behind closed doors be celebrated for it, for their bravery. It's stunning and brave to dress in brown face and then go and act like, it's politically incorrect. This is the same guy that said she covery. Remember that a couple weeks ago? Had no idea what the hell he was talking about when he said we're in a she session and we need to pull out. We need a she covery. I mean, he goes way beyond the normal virtue signaler when he inserts feminine language where there was no masculine language in the beginning to replace it with. Like she covery, I just don't get it, man. This is what they do. This is what they do. The left, this is what they do. It's like the beginning of the year. What did they say? A man and a woman. So they're super duper politically correct, except for when they're caught in blackface. So will Trudeau even issue a statement? I mean, this isn't a new news story, but it's resurfacing because another photo surfaced. And this is just disgusting and cringe. I mean, no matter what you think about him wearing this makeup, it's just weird and cringe. Like, I don't want somebody who looks like this. You can see the whites of his eyes. I don't want somebody like this as my leader. I don't want, if somebody like this wants to govern you, run, flee, become a refugee. If this person wants to be your leader and somehow they get rigged in there, that's when you need to become a refugee. You can see the tops of the whites of his eyes. He doesn't look normal. This photo isn't normal, even on Halloween. The facial expression he's making. Yeah, we're done here. Can't look at it anymore. Yelp data shows 60% of business closures due to the COVID pandemic are now permanent. Who's shocked by this one? 60% of business closures gone, completely gone. That's sad. So much entrepreneurship flushed down the drain. Now, those people, God will make a way. They can recover somehow, some way. The right thing will happen. That's what I believe in my heart of hearts, is that the people who had their businesses completely wiped off the map will have something great happen to them. A door doesn't close without a window opening somewhere. But this is sad. Yelp on Wednesday released its latest economic impact report, revealing business closures across the U.S. are increasing as a result of the coronavirus. And we're 18 months in. What's it going to be next year? There's going to be residual impacts from what they just did to us for years to come. Even if we were to go back to normal tomorrow, there would still be residual impacts felt for years, possibly decades, who knows? And that's assuming we were to end it right now, but they're not going to end this. This never ends unless people stop complying. That's the only way it ends. It's the only way out. There's no voting out. There's no complying your way out of it. You have to just resist. But as of August 31st, some 163,735 businesses have indicated on Yelp that they have closed at 23% since mid-July. Oh, that's a 23% increase since mid-July. And I believe it too, because I'm a fan of the show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. I love to watch this show. And every time there's a restaurant, I'm like, oh, that looks like a cool restaurant. Let me see if I can find it on the map. And maybe next time I'm in that city or that place, I'll go check it out. There's been more than a few times where I looked for that restaurant on a map and it's closed permanently. And I'm like, but this show just aired like 2 years ago. And usually after you're on that show, your business is boomed so hard that you have to hire new employees. It like really makes your business take off. So much to the point where he even goes back and does another show to follow up, like, how did business do after we had you on the show? They're like, oh yeah, open up a second location because the business was so good. I had to buy up the the neighboring business so I could expand seating. Like, so it's like really crazy to see shows that were on Triple D restaurants that were on Triple D completely obliterated due to the pandemic, shut down by government inaction, government mismanagement. It's not even because of the pandemic. Let me switch up my verbiage here. It's not due to the pandemic. It's not because of COVID. It's because of government tyranny. It's because the government force closed these businesses and they didn't recover. That's what it means. That's what it is. It's not because of a virus. It's because of government force closing those businesses. And it's just sad. It's really sad to see. And apparently that number's down from 180,000. I don't know. It's just bad. All bad. I think that was my last thing that I was supposed to cover. That's everything that I had on here. And I see the numbers are growing. We're up to 66 people watching. 66 watching. Make sure everybody watching gives this a thumbs up. I cannot stress the importance of that enough. We're going to grow on this channel. This channel is going to grow to the point where I get it monetized. At least I would like to get it monetized. That's the best way to, get the super chats and all of that. And the reach can really grow. I see that some of my streams show up in recommendeds, even though at the conclusion of this stream, this stream will not be uploaded on my channel for like 15 to 20 hours. That's just the way YouTube does it. I have no idea why. It doesn't happen on my main channel. So I don't know if it's that they're targeting me, if there's something going on systematically to where this channel doesn't get the live streams to go through. Could have something to do with the streaming service I'm using. I don't know. But just know that the live stream will not be uploaded right away. But I will always share it on my community tab and promote it on social media so people can go back and watch it later if they want. So let me read a few comments and then I got to do some yard work. I had some boring stuff to do on this Monday. Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. Thank you, DM, for being here. No Sheeple says, Mike, I think you might be right with people getting the COVID-19 instead of flu shot. At my CVS, they're doing both. Perhaps this is their plan. There are many Karens out there that would do it. Yeah, that's a weird thing. I didn't even think about that. The fact that we're about to be in flu season and now they're promoting the flu shot along with the COVID shot. So that seems bad. It's sloppy. And of course, there are people that would go in there to get their flu shot. They just want to be injected with as many pharma products as possible. God bless them. Not for me. But yeah, so it wouldn't be very hard, apparently, at this Walgreens to get it all mixed up and inject someone with the wrong thing. You said you're not going back to your local CVS. They have a health hub in the front right corner and COVID shot center in the back. On the left, I'm not going to read the rest of that. The algorithms I will be punished. But it is what it is, It's a necessary evil to be on here. Judge Death says, Mike, Team Freedom, salty purebloods. Yeah, the purebloods. I forgot about that. That's what people are calling themselves now. People, instead of being called unvaccinated, people are now referring to themselves as purebloods. I love it. I love it. Of course, that will be labeled Hitlerian talk. You wonder why we call you Nazi when you call yourself purebloods. Like, you've called people Nazi for a long time. I think that word has lost its meaning. So, yeah. But that's a great way to that's a great little workaround way to circumvent the shaming that comes along with being labeled a leper. You're basically a leper if you're unvaxxed. You're the disease. It's a pandemic of you. That's what they're telling you. That's what Biden says. It's what they keep repeating. A pandemic of the unvaccinated. You yourself are a virus. You're a plague. That's what it is. So now people are like, oh, you mean us purebloods over here? So I'm on board with it. I'm a fan. Isn't that like a Harry Potter thing too? Like, I don't know. Thanks, DM, for promoting my original channel. Yes, make sure if you are new to this channel, but you don't know about my main one, just search Mike Nificent by itself. It should pop right up. Also, it's in the chat here. Moderators did that. Put it in there. Someone said, I'm proudly a pureblood. I mean, I am too. I never thought of myself as such because it sounds kind of narcissistic or whatever, but in context with the way that I've been labeled, this like basically subhuman, unvaxxed, you know, right-wing extremists, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm a fan. Please check out Nano Silver. Oh, can't read it, but yes, check out a lot of things. There's a lot of things out there. Just do your research. I know it's dangerous to say that. I might get suspended for just saying that. For saying do your own research. Use that God-given brain. Don't go down the rabbit hole, says New York Times. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let us do the thinking for you. We're apparently smarter than you. But yeah, I'm wrapping up, guys. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. God bless you. Make sure that you like. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. I'll be back with more dangerous right-wing extremist content tomorrow. So check in for that. God bless you. I'll catch you.